Walking down the street, the stench of the sewer crawls up my leg and becomes an uninvited guest inside my nose. I gag and cover my nose as I slowly jog to fresh air. It's mid-December, and I'm in Chicago. The weather has taken over my soul, and I can't feel my fingers or toes. God damn, isn't Chicago beautiful? A classmate asked me. And just like that, I was cracking up with him, unknowingly forgetting about the cold. As we laughed and walked, those thoughts of, this sucks, or I wish I was anywhere but here, quickly vanished. Isn't that funny how that works? How making a comment like that when you're suffering takes you outside of your head and makes the suffering a little bit more sufferable? If you can joke or smile when times are bad, you're gonna be successful. When the joking stops, when the smiling stops, you've lost. Jocko Willink talks about this very thing when going through Navy SEAL training. As he lays down with his comrades at the shoreline of the Pacific Ocean, freezing cold water comes in from the ocean in an attempt to knock them over. The men's arms are intertwined to create a barrier, hoping the strength of the 20 men will be enough to beat the constant waves. Its only job is to provide endless suffering. That is, unless you quit. As the waves come in one after another, one of the lieutenants makes a comment about there being donuts if they quit. And one soldier yells out, "Do you have any glazed ones?" And the next thing you know, Jocko and this guy are laughing their asses off. How could this be? Just 1 second ago, these dudes were in the worst shape of their lives, and now they're joking like it's no big deal. Jocko looks over to his left and sees his buddy who is completely gone. No laughing is coming from him. He's got that 1,000-yard stare, the one where you aren't even on Earth anymore. The suffering has become so great that he's dissociated himself with reality. Jocko knew in that moment there was no saving this guy. And a couple minutes later, he rang the bell and quit. I mean, free donut though, right? I'm a firm believer in this message. Jokes make the world go round, and in times of suffering, to be able to joke, to make a joke, or laugh or smile at something that is happening, it goes a long way in helping you push forward. It takes you out of your head and gives your brain a different target. It makes the issues you're facing a little less daunting and a little bit more manageable. Now, suffering is painful. There is endless pain in this world, and it can beat you to your knees if you let it. And once it does, it's even harder to get out of. Most people, once they get into that headspace, don't see a way out. Or they just want to soak in it, lay in it, feel it. Comedy during times like these are so powerful because if you can laugh at something terrible that's happening in your life, it means you're not completely gone yet. Just like the Navy SEAL who couldn't laugh at a joke being made when they were getting pelted by waves. He couldn't see past what was happening. He was so far lost in the pain that everything around him became irrelevant. I ran my first marathon earlier this year. Amazing experience. I got my ass kicked, and I learned a lot of things moving forward. During the marathon, we had to run around this lake that was 3.3 miles long, and we had to run around it about 8 times, or something like that. It was around 8 times. Let me tell you, the laps never got easier. I think the hardest part was starting backwards, only to turn around halfway to go back. They're like, yeah, we're gonna start backwards. And I was like, start backwards? And guys, it was deliberate. It was to ensure that 8 full laps would equal 26.2 miles. But gosh, it's so hard on your mental because you're literally going backwards. So you're thinking, I'm not even making progress until I go backwards and then reach that point, then go back around, run through the start line, and then start the laps. So that really got in my head. But when I was running, as I got through the first lap, I saw this guy who was like part of the aid station, and he was cheering everyone on. And I would always say something funny to him every time I passed him, like, I could do this in my sleep, or did the race start yet? And like I mentioned earlier, this would help a lot, especially since I wasn't wearing headphones. It was just me and my thoughts, and after every interaction I had with this guy, I laughed to myself a bit, and tried to think of something funny to say to him when I passed him again. I got 5 laps in, and as I passed him, I didn't say anything. At the time, I didn't think much of it, you know? It's like, okay, now it's time to focus, Richard. I can't be joking around, no smiling. We are game faces on, okay? But the best thing I could have done in that moment is to try to find a joke to say to him. It would have gotten me out of my head. Would have put a smile on my face. I would have been thinking anything else but the fact that my legs are fucking on fire, man. It would have helped a lot. But at the time, I couldn't see it. And after that lap, I started walking. Me not joking with him was one of the clearest indicators that I was not gonna last. I still finished the race, but I'm willing to bet if I was able to muster up the energy to create a joke or laugh at something, I could have finished the race with less walking. And I find the same thing true at work. I've recently switched to working 4 days a week with 10-hour days, and when I'm exhausted, when I'm focused, it's really hard to joke around. When in reality, the best thing I could do when I'm feeling tired or just over fucking work, the best thing I could do is find laughter in the mundane. To get out of my own head, to try to make a joke with customers and coworkers, to see that life isn't so serious, and that being present, to live in the present moment, is to get out of your own head and to see life for what it really is. To have fun with what you are doing in the here and now. To fucking smile more. And I'm sure people are listening and they may not agree with this message, and that's fine. I know for me and many other people, laughter and smiling during times of suffering helps more than you can even imagine. I want to leave you all with this quote that Cameron Hanes talks about in his book Endure. Cameron Hanes got done with an ultramarathon. He ran like shit. He just was not what he expected it to be. And after the race, Sean M. from Sisters, Oregon gave him this tip. He said, no matter how bad things are going, smiling always helps. Next time you're going through a rather difficult period in your life, whether it's work, car problems, a grueling workout, smile more. Try to make a joke. Don't let the situation turn you into someone you're not. Thanks for listening, guys. I truly do appreciate each and every single one of you. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to this on, and please refer to a friend. If you want to support the show, there's a link in the show notes. Click it. It'll give you further instructions to go from there. I would greatly appreciate it. Helps out the show immensely. If you're not following me on Instagram, my personal page is PetryRichard_. That's Petry Richard_. And my fitness page is Richard Petry Fitness. Thanks again for listening, guys. And I'll see you all next Friday. Peace.